Well, good afternoon, YTPC. This is Dave coming to you from Wyoming. I'm currently filming in my office. You can see some of my cellar behind me. Today is a twofer. The whole point of this one is we're going to do a Wheel Gun Wednesday. Something I think Uncle Willie started. I mean, back when I first started making videos, geez, 3 months ago, Uncle Willie was doing Wheel Gun Wednesday, and I knew I had one in Maryland, which I thought I'd already done, but I can't find the video in my video list, so I'll do it when I get home. And I have one wheel gun here, and I can't travel with it. And so, but the twofer is the story and what I bought first, and then I'll show you the wheel gun. So here in Wyoming, particularly where I live, my property is not anywhere near Jackson Hole. We're about 35 miles outside the city, and we're in true wilderness. And so I have 10 acres here, and I'm really fortunate that the property is bordered on one side by Pacific Creek and on two other sides by the Grand Teton National Park and then U.S. forest land. And we're on the very edge of this homestead. I've told you before, there's about 40 lots. We all own 2 or 3 lots. There's 22 homes out here. But this time of year, probably out of the 22 homes, there's probably about 18 that have left for the winter. Most are part-timers, and most people don't like being here. We have 2 to 4 feet of snow, usually from November to May. And some people just don't like that. I happen to like winter, so it doesn't bother me. But what that means is you're kind of on your own. And when you are out on the property, you have to carry. And you have to carry something that can handle an angry male grizzly bear. And so for the Karens out there, I carry on one side of my hip bear spray. But I can't bet my life on bear spray. It might work, but I have to carry something that I know will work. So I went, when I first, a couple of years ago, I first came out here, more and more. I began to realize I was going to spend more and more of my time here alone. And so I went into town and bought my first bear gun. What do the locals carry and all that? Because I went in thinking I was going to buy a 45 auto ACP. And they said, that's not what we carry out here, buddy. You need something with more stopping power than a 45, which I'd never thought I'd hear that, So I'll show you what I bought first. So this is the bear gun. I carry this thing. So I carry a Glock. I carry the Glock 20. Yeah, it's a Glock 20. It's Gen 5. I put a red dot on it just because I'm getting older and I'm better with the red dot now than iron sights. So it's a Glock 20 Gen 5, and it's a 10 millimeter. And when we carry for bear, so if you're carrying for people, you just put in the standard, what is it? Basically 137, 140 grain hollow point. But when you carry for bear, you carry what they call a hard nose, and it's solid. It's a solid bullet that sits on the round, and it's the best thing to penetrate if you're gonna have to kill a bear, which I don't want to do, by the way. I never want to shoot any animal. That's not my point. But if I do, you got to shoot something that has penetration capability. And hollow points just piss off bears. They fragment and they're just too much. So you have to be able to penetrate, particularly the skull. So this is the round. So I carry here. I'll show you. I carry this on my hip. So this is on my right hip, and this is on my left hip. And when I carry for normal wear and tear, I carry just like this. But when I'm carrying on the property, I pull this out, and this is the one that goes in. So I carry 3 mags, 1 in the weapon and 2 on my hip. But this one's labeled bear because this got the hard case. So 1 in the weapon, 2 on my hip. That's what I carry. And that is my official bear load. I almost never walk out of the house without this on me. I carry it when I drive into town because I don't know what I'm going to come up against on the road. And if I come up against somebody that's in trouble, even if they're a tourist and stupid, I will stop and get out and help them. So there's the first of the double today. All right, the second in our double header is the wheel gun. It's this. It comes in this nice case, and this is actually what I carry it around in because I can't carry it any other way. So I'm going to go ahead and tip you down and show it to you on the table. All right. So I do have a holster for it. The holster is really just for if I take it to the range, I can wear this, I can put this on my hip, and it gives me somewhere to put the weapon rather than lay it down. Because out here, the range is pretty remote and the tables are pretty harsh. So what we have is this Smith & Wesson, or the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. There's no reason to own this weapon, none at all. It's a stupid weapon. This thing is heavy. I've never felt a weapon this heavy that's in a handgun. I mean, it's barely able to hold it, really. The recoil is not that bad because of the weight of this barrel, but it's, I got the wrong hand for this. It's just your standard revolver. It's a 5-shot. So not everyone does this. I know Uncle Willie says he doesn't do this. I carry one chamber empty, and that's what's under the hammer. So I always come up, make sure it clicks with the empty round underneath, or the empty chamber underneath. But there you go. It's your basic revolver. It's just huge. It's got a nice flash suppressor on it, and don't know really what else to show you. There's no safety on it. It's just, you got to be smart enough to not hurt yourself with it. The rounds are, like you see, they're easy in and out. So when you're done shooting, you just dump out the casing. And that's really it. So that's kind of it for the weapon. The other thing I'll show you are the rounds. So this is your standard 9mm. It's the hollow point. It's what I carry in my bear gun when I'm carrying not on the property. And this is the 500 Smith & Wesson Mag. So Hornady is the only place I've been able to find these things. They come in boxes of 20. You can buy them in 350 grain or 500 grain. I have both, but I generally try to buy the 500s because this bullet, 500 grain, will literally stop anything. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could shoot a car engine with this and bring the car down if I had to. So I don't consider it a practical weapon. It is incredibly difficult to carry. It's just heavy. You'd have to put it, I think you'd almost have to carry it under the arm in a full shoulder rig. And I just don't carry it enough for that. I don't know if anybody who carries this weapon. I couldn't believe they had it. I've never seen it in real life before. And when I went to buy the bear gun, they had this sitting on the bottom shelf, and I think it'd been sitting there a while because it's a pretty expensive weapon and nobody's going to use it or carry it. And so I asked them, make me a deal on it. So I bought the 10 mil, and then a couple days later went back in and bought this thing. So I'm kind of famous at the gun store for doing that. So guys, that's sort of it. That's Wheel Gun Wednesday. And that's really all I wanted to do on this video, was to show you my actual Barrett gun that I carry, and then this crazy thing. So that's it. That's it for Wheel Gun Wednesday. This is going to be a multiple video a day probably. I'm home. It's been snowing. It's quiet out. I've got all my work done. I don't think I'm going to drive into town. There's no reason to. I've done everything in town I needed to. So I'm going to take a few days off and maybe go downtown Thursday or Friday. But that's it. We'll see you on the next video. Bye, you guys.